which holds some of the richest untapped resources on the planet. Vast oil and gas fields just waiting to be exploited. Well, now an Arctic conference is to decide who has the right to drill and where, now that global warming has made it easier than ever before. The forum's being hosted by Russia, which itself has designs on great swathes of territory. Other countries, though, also have their eyes on the prize. Moscow wants to extend its territorial waters all the way up to the North Pole, while the Canadians want control of a valuable transpolar shipping route. The BBC's Rajesh Mirchandani has joined a supply ship on the Hudson Bay and sent us this report.
In unpredictable seas, we headed towards the Arctic Ocean. We joined the Hudson Bay Explorer, towing a barge full of equipment to places inaccessible by road. Small ships like this are a lifeline for Canada's remote north.
In a few weeks' time, this journey wouldn't be possible. Much of the Hudson Bay and the Arctic Ocean freezes over. But as the Earth warms up and polar ice melts, shipping lanes are becoming accessible for more of the year and to larger vessels.
So what does that mean for small ships like this?
This is a radar, and this is a radar, and they both do the same thing.
40 years at sea, now Captain Richard Lambert predicts upheaval.
The Northwest Passage was open last year. A couple of tugs did get through. Global warming is going to change the face of the North. The tug and barge industry will be reduced because larger ships can come and they'll bring more cargo in bulk.
The Northwest Passage is the holy grail for shipping. 40 years ago, this supertanker rammed its way through from Atlantic to Pacific. But in recent summers, it's been ice-free, and there's a contest for control. Recently, Canada showcased its Arctic forces, and it's buying new patrol boats too. It's a signal to Russia and America, who want open access. Canada says it controls waterways, including the Northwest Passage.
All these efforts are toward one non-negotiable priority, and that is the protection and promotion of Canada's sovereignty over what is our north.
Back on the Hudson Bay, after 20 hours at sea, we reached our destination, the town of Arviat, where the barge was unloaded. Supporting remote communities like this is another way to show who's in charge in the north. We met this family taking delivery of their new car. Do you feel you're part of Canada?
Yeah, we're 100% Canadian, and we're so proud to be a Canadian.
Arviat is a town built for practicality. The ground is frozen for much of the year. It's home to mainly Inuit people. Ancient customs mix with the new. Canada supports strong native traditions. It's also a way of reinforcing its ownership of the North. But it's a tough life. Jobs are few and prices high. How much does it all cost?
Over 500.
That's nearly $500 for a week's groceries. Child benefit payments help her afford it. People here need the government as much as it needs them. 2 days later, our journey ended, but the Arctic gold rush is just starting, and we've seen how Canada is staking its claim. Rajesh Mirchandani, BBC News on the Hudson Bay.
Russia is moving to dominate the Arctic as the ice melts. These Russian ships blazing a trail through the Northeast Passage last month, proving they can now use this route to take oil and gas to Asia. We were taken on board the nuclear-powered icebreaker which had led the way just before the final leg of their journey. The Russians keen to publicize how quickly they're exploiting the effects of climate change here in the Arctic.
At the moment, this and the other icebreakers are needed to escort the cargo ships safely through the Northeast Passage. But according to many predictions, within the next 20 years, there'll be no ice here at all, which means this could become an extremely busy shipping lane.
Russian icebreakers have also been moving towards the North Pole. This expedition 3 years ago reinforcing Russia's claim to an extra 500,000 square miles of Arctic territory. By using submarines to dive to the seabed and plant the Russian flag. And at today's conference, Russian officials repeated their claim to this territory, which could contain more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia.
National interests are more important than anything else. Russia is inextricably linked to the Arctic. The great Russian scientist Lomonosov said that Russia would increase in size by expanding into the Arctic, and we agree with that.
In this shipyard in St. Petersburg, they're already preparing for the big push towards the North Pole, building floating nuclear power stations due to be deployed in the Arctic to provide electricity and heating.
These reactors have great potential, making it possible to explore the Arctic shelf and to extract oil and gas. We need to ensure a reliable energy supply in the extreme conditions there.
So, with all this hard work, Russia's goal seems clear: to control the bulk of the Arctic's rich resources. Richard Galpin, BBC News, in Russia.
That is one strand, of course, of what is a multi-strand story really at the moment. We've got much more for you about the Arctic Forum itself as well. If you go to the website, bbcnews.com, we've got background on the efforts to explore the Arctic region and precisely why they're so fraught with tensions as well. And an explainer for you of the role the UN can play in resolving disputes and the extent to which that works.